Most countries have one capital city, some have two, but South Africa is unique. It has three official capitals: Pretoria, Cape Town, and Bloemfontein. It's a question that confuses many people. Why divide power between three cities? Why not just pick one? To understand the answer, we need to go back in time, to a period of colonial rivalry, war, and compromise, because South Africa's unusual capital system is deeply tied to its complex history. The story begins in the 1600s, when the Dutch established the Cape Colony at the southern tip of Africa. They founded Cape Town in 1652 as a refreshment station for ships of the Dutch East India Company sailing between Europe and Asia. Over time, the colony grew. Dutch settlers, known as Boers or Afrikaners, moved inland, farming and forming small communities. But by the early 1800s, everything changed. The British Empire seized the Cape Colony from the Dutch during the Napoleonic Wars. The Cape became a British possession in 1814, marking the beginning of nearly a century of tension between the British and the Boers. The Boers were not happy with British control. In the 1830s and 1840s, thousands of them embarked on the Great Trek, a migration into the interior of southern Africa. There, they founded independent republics: the South African Republic, also called the Transvaal, and the Orange Free State. These were fiercely independent, largely agrarian societies that rejected British rule and sought to preserve their own culture and autonomy. Meanwhile, the British consolidated power in the south, developing coastal cities like Cape Town and Durban and investing heavily in trade and infrastructure. By the late 1800s, southern Africa was divided between British-controlled territories and Boer republics, two groups that shared a landmass but had very different political visions. In the late 19th century, the discovery of diamonds in Kimberley and gold in the Witwatersrand transformed the region. These discoveries drew huge international attention and dramatically increased the economic value of the Boer territories. The British, eager to control these resources, began to push for greater unification, or, depending on how you see it, greater control. Tensions exploded into open conflict in 1899 with the outbreak of the Second Boer War. It was a brutal and costly war fought between the British Empire and the two Boer republics. When it ended in 1902, the British emerged victorious and the Boer territories were annexed into the empire. But victory brought a new challenge: how to govern this vast and divided region. The British had gained control, but the Boers were still a major political and cultural force. There was deep distrust between the two sides. Creating a single, unified South Africa would require compromise. In 1910, the British merged the four major colonies: the Cape Colony, Natal Colony, Transvaal, and the Orange River Colony, into one political entity, the Union of South Africa. It was established as a dominion within the British Empire, similar to Canada or Australia. But one huge question remained: where should the capital be? Each of the major regions had its own claims. Cape Town, the oldest and most developed city, had long served as the seat of the colonial government under the British. Pretoria, located in the Transvaal, was the administrative heart of the former Boer Republic and a symbol of Afrikaner identity. Bloemfontein, capital of the Orange Free State, was smaller but politically significant and geographically central. Choosing one city risked alienating others. If the capital were in Cape Town, the Boers would feel marginalized by British dominance. If it were in Pretoria, English-speaking South Africans might feel overshadowed by Afrikaner influence. The goal of the new union was to unite, not divide. And the leaders knew that the wrong choice could reignite old tensions. So, in one of the most interesting political compromises in modern history, South Africa's leaders decided to divide the capital functions among three cities. This arrangement was formalized when the Union of South Africa was established in 1910. Pretoria became the executive capital, the seat of the president and the administrative branch of government. Cape Town became the legislative capital, home to Parliament. Bloemfontein became the judicial capital, housing the Supreme Court of Appeal. This solution was not only symbolic but practical. It distributed political power across regions that represented different parts of South Africa's history and population. Each major group, British and Afrikaner, could claim some ownership of the new union. It was, in many ways, a peace treaty disguised as a political system. While it might sound inefficient, the three-capital system worked because it reflected South Africa's diversity and complexity. The country was, and still is, vast and regionally varied. Having multiple capitals helped balance regional influence and prevented power from being concentrated in a single place. Each capital developed its own role and identity. Even today, this system symbolizes South Africa's founding principle of balance between competing interests, a recognition that no single city or group should dominate. Over the years, there have been many discussions about simplifying this setup. Having three capitals means government officials constantly travel between cities. It's expensive, time-consuming, and logistically complicated. Every year, Parliament members relocate to Cape Town for the legislative session, while most of the government departments remain based in Pretoria. Some have proposed making Pretoria the sole capital, arguing that it's more practical since most ministries are already there. Others defend Cape Town's role, emphasizing its historical and cultural importance. But despite the debates, no government has seriously pursued the change, mainly because the three-capital system is deeply embedded in South Africa's political identity. Centralizing everything in one city could reignite regional rivalries or create the perception that one area is being favored over another. In a country as diverse as South Africa, political symbolism still matters. The three capitals stand as a constant reminder of compromise and unity. Today, South Africa remains the only country in the world with three official capitals. Each plays a distinct and active role in governance. Beyond governance, the three-capital system tells a story about South Africa itself, a country built on diversity, compromise, and reconciliation. Each capital represents a piece of its identity. Cape Town reflects South Africa's colonial past and connection to the wider world, a port city where global trade and culture meet. Pretoria symbolizes Afrikaner heritage and the seat of modern government. Bloemfontein, quieter and more central, represents the heartland, a link to the early republics and the spirit of neutrality. When South Africa transitioned to democracy in 1994, some wondered if the new government would rethink the three-capital arrangement. After all, the political landscape had changed dramatically, but even the democratic government led by Nelson Mandela decided to keep it as it was. Changing the capital would have meant massive costs, relocating infrastructure, building new parliamentary complexes, and potentially favoring one province over another. More importantly, the arrangement still served its original purpose: balance. In the democratic era, that balance is no longer between British and Boer interests, but between different provinces, languages, and cultures. Maintaining three capitals is seen as a way of symbolizing inclusion and equality among regions. Today, most South Africans view the three-capital system as part of their country's unique identity. While some see it as inefficient, others see it as a reminder of unity through diversity.